Please ignore the laundry on the bed. That's part of why we're here. Hello, my lovely friends. It's Margaret, and this is a reading vlog. Well, it's mostly going to be a get stuff done vlog. I am going to try and spend today and tomorrow just getting some of the stuff done that I keep putting off because insurance season starts next Saturday, or Medicare, the annual enrollment period starts next Saturday, and that means that I am going to have 2 jobs. Basically, my weekends are not going to be mine starting next weekend, so I decided that this weekend I am going to sit down. I'm going to make a list of the things that I need to do that I don't have energy to do during the week. I've kind of just slacked off for the first half of the day, let myself be cool, and I am going to see how much of that I can get done. I am reading a book. It is somewhere. There it is. I don't have a physical read, and reading some books is going to be something we need to do because I've touched one book on my TBR, and it just so happens to be not a book I need to be, well, I mean, I do need to read it, but the other ones just so happen to be, like, not books that are on my TBR, it's just what I've been feeling like reading, which is fine, except TBR. Currently, I am 166 pages into Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This basically sums up my thoughts. Vanya has done nothing wrong ever in her life, and I am really enjoying this. Going into this book, I knew Vanya was a thief. I knew going into this book that who I think is the love interest, Emmerich, is a detective. What I did not anticipate happening in this book was Emmerich the detective meeting our main character, Vanya, at a party where she is actively stealing people's jewels. And if that sounds familiar, it's because that's basically Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. I was betrayed. No one told me that was the dynamic going on here. Like, now it's a little bit less sexually charged because I'm getting the feeling that Vanya is a little demi girl after my own heart. But we just got to a part where Emmerich shows his cards in one of the most Bruce Wayne moves. Like, he's not putting on a dark cape and cowl and, bringing about vigilante justice. This is Bruce Wayne if he actually worked, I guess, technically for the police. Well, I didn't even think about that. But for, like, he works with, like, basically this world's equivalent of the FBI. So I'm just over here, like, reading this encounter where he's finally kind of given Vanya an idea of who he actually is as a person and has gone past the, act that he is giving her based on what he has rightly guessed she is expecting of him. Then I was just like, oh, this is Batcat all over again. I am in the thief, detective trope never disappoints me. Never. I will always be here for that trope. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go listen to some more of this. There have been a lot of things going on in here, and I do want to say, and I love Margaret Owen for this, but she does have an author's note at the beginning where she lists out some of the trigger warnings, because she is going to talk about, she talks about child abuse, neglect, abusive environments, and then trauma from past attempted assault. So far, it's nothing that has been explicitly shown on page, but we do have Vanya describing events that have happened to her. Like, there is a point where she gets whipped for something that was not her, something she didn't do wrong. That's the opening of this vlog. Have I closed out the last vlog? No. We'll do that eventually, but first, forgot to mention this. This is the weekend of my channel anniversary. Yesterday, October 7th, was the anniversary of when I published my very first BookTube video. We did some videos about that. I'll have the main video linked up top and then also in the description box, along with the discussion video that I did afterwards with some friends talking about BookTube. Yes, we are off track for the first 30 minutes or so, but I do get us to actually talking about BookTube stuff. That's the intro. I wanted to start this vlog because I knew if I didn't start this vlog, it was never going to get started, but we'll see. I'm going to go make myself some breakfast, which at this point is lunch. I'm so bad at eating on the weekends. I'm just if you're not forcing me to eat at a specific timetable, I will eat when I realize I'm starving. Go fix breakfast, and I'm going to sit down and make a list of the things that I would like to get done this weekend. For accountability purposes, I am going to sit down and tell y'all what I'm going to try and get done today and tomorrow. There are certain things that have to happen, like my food prep, but we're going to do that. Hello. It's not Saturday anymore. Ta-da. I got some of what I needed to do yesterday done. Like the stuff that required me to leave the house, it's happened. We're good. And I read a lot. I read, when I started yesterday, actually, I was here in Little Thieves. I am now here. This is a very, very good, like, this book was so good that when I was at the bookstore yesterday, I'm in the bookstore listening to this book, and I'm like, ooh, you know, I have a table here. I can put it here so you can see the book that I am talking about. No, you can't, because it's off screen. There we go. I'm in the bookstore looking for books. They didn't have most of what I was looking for. I got one book, which was one of the new releases, and then they didn't have the other book that I really wanted, which is annoying, but I have since ordered it online. But the nice thing about having a Barnes & Noble membership is I do get free shipping. So, anyways, I'm in the library. I'm like, oh, that was, you know, I really like this. Like, something happened in the audiobook. There was a moment, and I was like, oh, I really like this book. I should go pick up a copy. I owned a copy for months at this point, and I'm in the bookstore going, yeah, I should get a copy of the book that I and then I was like, wait a minute, Margaret, you already own the book. You don't need the book. Yeah, like, I completely forgot that I did not own a copy of this book already. Anyways, that'll be a good thumbnail. Long story short, we are almost done with Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. I did not know I was going to love this. They're both Demi. I'm so happy. This just makes, such a good book. I'm going to try and give you guys some more cohesive thoughts than that. We kind of really got into a lot of what was going on. We know more about what's going on with Fania. We know more about what's going on with Giselle and how we got into that situation and some of the stuff that has happened to her. And I love it, and I'm mad the second book isn't out yet, and Emmerich and Fania are adorable, and Emmerich did have a moment. He did have a moment, and I will give him some slack because he was grieving, and I will give him more slack because he did just a very good apology. Very good apology. People could take notes about this apology that he gave. So anyways, this is a book about Fania. She is the 13th daughter of a 13th daughter, and her mom decided that she was unlucky, and so she gave her up to Death and Fortune. Yeah, Death and Fortune. So Fania was raised by Death and Fortune for the first, several years of her life, and then she got to the point where, as a mortal, she could not live in their world any longer, so she had to go and be into the human world, and they put her with this girl Giselle's family, and Giselle and Fania kind of grew up as friends, sort of, in as much as you can be friends with someone who is your servant and someone that, like, you, like, I totally understand a lot of what's going on here with Giselle and why she didn't stand up for, I don't want to hold this up anymore, I'm done, no, okay, why she didn't stand up for Fania, because as a child, number one, she's rich and dumb, but she also is a child and powerless in a lot of these situations. There's a situation with one of her friends that, like, absolutely, she should have said something. But what ends up happening is Giselle ends up getting engaged to this guy named the Margrave, and he's like there's only one person in their society that is higher than him. I believe it's an empress. And so he's super powerful. Her family can't really say no to him saying, I want to marry your daughter. And so they go off to his castle, and Fania goes with Giselle and ends up stealing Giselle's identity. She's been living as Giselle the last year, trying to get enough money so that she can leave this world, because the thing about her godmothers is when she's 13, they're like, hey, listen, you have to choose which one of us you're going to serve. And Fania's like, I just want to be your daughter. Like, I don't want to be your servant. And they're like, nah, that's not how it works. And it's really, really interesting. Like, Margaret Owen is doing something here where, like, it is very, very clear that her godmothers want what's best for her and love her and are doing what they think it needs to be done to protect her in this instance. But that's not what Fania wants. It's a very transactional type of love, and so Fania has grown up, like, not wanting to ask for help. That sounds familiar. Not wanting to ask for help because... So Fania has grown up not wanting to ask for help because she knows that help comes with strings attached, because it always has for her since the time she was 13, that, like, if her godmothers are going to give her anything, there are strings attached to it, and she doesn't want to spend the rest of her life serving either of them. And so it's just really interesting that, like, you've got these two people who love her, but they're not really seeing her, and they're not understanding what her needs are. And so they're not able to meet her needs. I just really like how she's doing that, how, like, they're not really the bad guys, there's just a disconnect in what they think is correct and what Fania needs and what she wants and what she's expressed. And, I mean, obviously a lot of that can be explained away by the fact that they are low gods, and so they don't think like humans do, and, like, you know, they're immortal, yada, yada, yada. But also, you see that a lot. You see that a lot with kids, where, like, the parents want something for the kid, and they think it's in their kid's best interest, but it ends up being emotionally or mentally damaging to the child, trying to live up to this parent's expectations, or trying to, you know... Yeah, anyways, I have a whole to-do list that I sat down. I don't want to put that on the floor. That's too far. I have a whole to-do list that I sat down. Things we need to do today. We need to work on my budget for this month, because I got paid the other day. So I do need to actually sit down and figure out what bills that paycheck is supposed to go. Like, I have a list. I just have to sit down and actually, like, I try to sit down and do them all at once, because if I try and pay them as they come up, it doesn't work well, my friends. I've got to sit down, I've got to do that, I've got to finish up, like, decorating my October bullet journal pages and all of that stuff. I want to clean some of my room. Probably not all of it. I probably will only spend like 30 minutes, but I would like to get this less messy. It was less messy last week, and then a couple weeks ago, a hurricane came. Although my shelves are looking much better, despite the fact that I have once again started using them as storage space. We're gonna fix that. I also need to, obviously, I have to do my food prep today, so that'll get done. And I need to start working on editing my beginning of the week video. That's what we're gonna call it. It's the beginning of the week video that's supposed to go up like Sunday, Monday. Today is Sunday, maybe Tuesday. And then I also need to figure out what videos I still have to edit, because I haven't been keeping up with cataloging my memory cards. I have a Excel spreadsheet that I like to keep, like, what each file is and what video it belongs to, because despite my best efforts at being organized with my memory cards, I do still end up sometimes having stuff on the wrong memory cards. Like, I have vlogs that have been scattered over all 4 of them. So I need to do that. I need to do, oh God. I keep finding places where the tea has spilled. I spilled some tea before I sat down. I've been sitting in a giant puddle of it, apparently. I need to do my laundry. I just folded a bunch of stuff. My laundry from last Sunday, I just folded that. Or last Monday, I don't know. And I do need to sit down and I need to figure out getting my worldwide write-a-thon shit together, because so the way that I work, I'm very last minute. Get another one of those like things that's like, maybe ADHD is a thing that's going on in your brain type things, because there are a lot of deadlines for this. And when I signed up, could handle the number of deadlines. And then my brain decided that it couldn't. Yeah, no, my brain just like stopped being like, nope, deadlines, nope. So every time I think about it, I'm like, oh man, there's so much shit that I have to catch up on, and like, just my brain doesn't want to go there. So I have to sit down. I've got to force my brain to go there so that I stop avoiding this thing. I have a couple of things that I would like to get to if I have time. I may get to them anyways, just because they're more like self-care fun things that I can do. But anyways, I do also have books that we need to read. I want to finish this guy right here, and I have a book haul for y'all. I also need to finish my current physical read, which is The Rape of Nonking by The Rape of Nonking by Iris Chang. I am almost done this sucker. I'm like, I don't know if I've gotten past, yeah, I've gotten past the, I'm here, I'm on chapter 10, I believe. It is very, very interesting because, like, there's some stuff in here that I'm just like, oh my god, like, there's so many... Because of what was going on in the world at this time, there are so many Nazis in this book. And I'm just like, the people who were working with the Nazis and the people who were part of the Nazi party in some cases here didn't know what was going to happen. And so, like, there's stuff that will be in people's diaries. There's just, like, slightly, like, yeah, the fact that they're so gung-ho for this is slightly disconcerting. So if you don't know, fascism not for a very long time, but for a bit leading up to World War II and all of the atrocities that happened in Germany, there was a point where kind of it was like, is capitalism or is fascism going to be the current world order? Because there were economic aspects to fascism that some people found very appealing. And so we have somebody who... one of the people that we follow in here, he was part of the Nazi party in China, and he was born in, I believe he was born in China or grew up in China, but he spent most of his life in China. And then because of what happens here, he ends up going back to Germany, and he's like trying to get in contact with Hitler, trying to be like, hey, all of these like atrocities are happening in Japan, and Hitler's like, stop talking about that, we don't care. He got in so much trouble for being like, hey, here's the film, here's all this stuff, like trying to actually do the right thing. The fact that we spent so much time in one section of, because there's a section of this book where we talk about the people in the safety zone, the foreigners that were doing their best to protect everyone that they could. Like trying to use the power that they had with their governments, and they had a little bit more sway with the Japanese soldiers coming into Nonking than the people of Nonking did. Especially, for example, the German people who were living there and that were part of the Nazi party, because the Japanese were also part of the Nazi party at the time. And so he is one of them, but we follow him for so long, and I'm just sitting here going, why are we spending so much time following this Nazi? And then you get to later and you see that, like, when he gets back to Germany, he was like, oh shit. Anyways, I've only got a little bit of this guy left. I've got the final chapter, the original epilogue, and then the second epilogue written by the author's husband. She does end up committing suicide. Not after this book, but after her next book. It sounds like there was some stuff going down. Some people, like, because people didn't like the fact that she wrote this book. The Japanese government doesn't like talking about Nonking, and because of, like, there's so much geopolitical stuff. Like, people were not held to the same level of accountability in Japan as they were in Germany in the Nuremberg trials, because we then went into the Cold War. We had the Vietnam War, the Korean War in the correct, I don't remember which order is correct at the moment, I'm sorry. We were so afraid of communism that we're like, we're gonna let people get away with massive war crimes and not even try. I want to finish this book today, hopefully, or today or tomorrow. And then, because I have a whole bunch of stuff that I need to read physically. So I'm trying to finish that and Little Thieves today so I can move on to some of my October TBR. Speaking of, I stopped by Barnes & Noble. I wanted to get Nettle and Bone as well because I really liked it. I was like, this is one I want to own. But I wasn't able to find it because they didn't have it at Barnes & Noble. Why I put my T across the room, I don't know. What I did get was Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Dunn. I have an arc of it, but I like to, like, if I have access to the finished copy, I like to read the finished copy instead, and I already knew I was gonna buy it. So, I really appreciate that it is purple. I need to read this. I need to start some of my actual October TBR stuff, so I want to finish reading this. And then I also stopped by the library and got a few of my October books. Again, I like to have physical copies of things, especially if I'm reading on audiobooks, and especially if I'm reading, like, on Hoopla, because Hoopla and I don't like Libby. I just there are so many things about Libby that drive me bonkers. Number one, it is terrible about, like, staying where you can, like, actually, like, pause and play it properly. If you pause it for more than 5 minutes, you then have to pull your phone out, go back into the app, go back into your books that you have checked out, get to the book, and then push play. Like, there's so many steps instead of, like, Overdrive would stay for, like, ages. I would have to dismiss it myself, and I'm just annoyed. Books that we got from the library, we'll do a little library haul. I got Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. This was a past Avengers group book. I didn't get to finish it in time, and since most of the people in the group weren't particularly, like, it wasn't bad, but it was not their favorite. I was like, I have so many other things I need to read. So I went ahead, I was like, I can finish this at another time. So we're going to finish it. We also, here are some of my October ones. I have January 15th by Rachel Swirsky. This is a near future, and it's based on the day that everyone gets their basic income payment, which is January 15th. And then we also have one of my October videos, and I am annoyed that this still has 14 days on it. Like, you have to, like, this came out 2 years ago. Why is it still a 14-day book? 2 years ago, 2020, I had the arc for this. I'm probably going to end up buying this because I already have the first 2 books, but I wanted to get, I don't know, yeah, I wanted to get this. This is the 3rd book in the Earthsinger Chronicles. This is going to be, like, my next audiobook after I finish Light from Uncommon Stars. This is one of the first arcs I had on my first NetGalley channel, or account, which I deleted because I was like, there's no way I'm ever getting 100% feedback rate. I had one or two titles that I missed downloading, and so they were forever, like, books I didn't give feedback on. I'm not making that mistake ever again, but, like, as soon as I get the book, I go and I hit download, and so then I can, no matter how long after, I can still give feedback on it. And then I also got Stealing Infinity by Allison Noel. If I remember correctly, yeah, this is about a girl who has magic. She ends up getting kicked out of her regular school, ends up getting recruited to Grey Wolf Academy, and then some stuff goes down. Oh, and there's time travel involved. Oh, it's a time travel boarding school. Okay, I am intrigued. And then the final chonker, I did not realize this book was going to be this. Look at that. It's so big it almost blocks my entire face. It's First Finding by R.R. Verdi. We're gonna see if it deserves to have... Oh, that's not terrible. It's 817 pages. They are a bit thicker, so that explains why it is so chonky, because this is thicker than The Way of Kings, which I have up there, which is 200 pages more, but that's because they use Bible pages for that. All legends are born of truth and just as much lies. These are mine. Judge me for what you will, but you will hear my story first. So it's about a dude that, like, he does some stuff and people hate him for it. And so, like, I think I buried the vision of Ampur under the mountain of snow and ice. Then I killed their god. I've stolen old magics and been cursed for it. I started a war with those who walked before mankind and lost the princess I loved and wanted to save. I've called lightning and bound fire. I am a legend and I am a monster. My name is Ari, and this is the story of how I let loose the first evil. Sounds very kind of Name of the Windy, like kind of that vein of narration style. I may see if I can get the audiobook of this one because it is so thick. That is, I was expecting, like, a normal size fantasy book, like that size. Something more like this. Something more like that much a book. And then we have all of this over here. So it was really funny because the library brought these over from my shelf. And I was like, oh my god. So we'll see how much of that page count was actually necessary. We will see. I definitely got up later than I was planning because somebody came to... We got a new internet service. We switched back to Spectrum or whatever. And, so, I woke up at, like, 8:30 and the dude was here. And I was like, oh, shoot. All of my, like, being around people who are not my parents' clothes are in the wash. Whoops. So I just stayed in my room and hung out on YouTube for a hot minute. Hi, hello, it is evening. I have a very important update that I should have given you like hours ago, but I was too busy figuring out what to do with my life after finishing it. But I finished Little Thieves. So there is one other, possibly, well, there are 2 books that are going to be coming out this year that may bump this from my favorite book of the year. Currently, though, this is my favorite book of the year, and I'm very sorry for how much this is going to become my personality. Like all of it, and the way it ends is so classic. I'm like, Selena Kyle couldn't have done it better. It's literally a moment from a Batcat comic, or it's literally a Batcat moment. It happens in the. What am I supposed to do with my life until book 2 comes out? Anyways, it's 9:30 at this point. 9:30, almost 9:40. I need to go make a thumbnail for my wrap-up that I just did. I just went ahead and did the stupid thing live. I was like, I don't feel like editing this video. Did I put together any thoughts for it? No, I did not. Oh my god. I love this book so much. We're only on day 9 of the month, and I've already found my favorite book of the year. It's amazing. I'm so happy. Where was I going with that? Anyways, have we got anything on the list done? I'm not entirely sure. Where is the list? Oh, that's a good question. I moved it so I could film. So this is where I was standing at the end of that last clip. You can see I have now put my Irish Shaw books away. But do you see that? It's the list of things that I wanted to do today. Of the 12 things that I put on the list, well 13, but I crossed one of them out because I don't have to edit that video. Of those, I have done 6 of the things that I was trying to do this weekend. So we'll just, move some of this stuff over tomorrow, but that's not bad. I have officially restarted Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. It's interesting because I'm really liking some of, I like the elements, I like the setup, I know a lot of people feel like it has too much going on. I think if this was a series instead of a standalone, I really like the supernatural elements that we have. I also like the alien element that's there. If I had to lose either of those, I would have rather kept the supernatural element or have both of those actually be the same thing. Whatever the supernatural element is, have that be aliens. Because that wouldn't be the first time that aliens were thought to be gods or devils. So, anyways, I like the story. I like what we're covering. That's all I have for thoughts right now. But I think it should be pretty quick to finish this. Hi, hello. We are here to wrap this vlog up. Just realized I still have my hair up in the pigtails that I put it in so that I can go jogging and not have it in my face. So, currently rocking the hairstyle of like a 7-year-old. But we're gonna go with it. Books you saw me read during this reading vlog, I think. I'm pretty sure this is all of them. I have not actually gone through all of the footage for this vlog yet. But, here we are. Finished Little Thieves. We gave this 5 stars. I have no words. They are gone. It is amazing. I loved this book so much, and I am extra mad now that I wasn't paying attention at the bookstore and got one that had a busted cover. It's fine. I'm fine. This is a beautiful book, and I cannot wait till book 2 comes out. I think I may need to pre-order it because I know you can't actually get this in bookstores right now, apparently. I loved Fania as a character. She just is so complex and so angry and has so much going on, and she just wants to be loved. That's it. She's so angry and she just wants to be loved. And also to have her boyfriend chase her around and try to arrest her. I don't understand the appeal of that on a personal level, but I sure am into it in a fictional level. So here we are. There we go. Read the book. Read the book. One thing I do want to say and that I loved about this is that this is a very, like, our main characters are Demi, but then the characters around them, it's just kind of taken for granted that queerness exists in this world. Like, one of the main characters, we find out, is solely into women. And one of the things that they discuss is that this character's options then for marriage are very, very limited, and they're limited to a certain number of women who were not thought to be women at birth. So, like, just the fact that was just, like, a normal thing in the world, I loved it. I really appreciated, like, where am I trying to go? I just, like, if you want to be in a world where it is safe to be queer, on any level, I feel like I feel like this might be a good book for you. Also very good, and they're both Demi, and I loved it. This is my new personality. I don't actually have personalities. I just switch from different fictional things that I love very much. Two other books that we were working on. Light from a Common Stars by Rika Aoki, and then The Rape of Nonking by Iris Chang. I am very, very close to the end of this book. I have not finished it yet, but I expect I will probably today or tomorrow. Gotten through the most of it because I'm on page like 203 and there's only like 220 some pages. Like, well, no, because if you're counting the epilogue, there's like 240. So I've got that much left, and I know we're about to get into like some of the hard personal stuff for what happens after. For the most part, I think this is really good. She is doing a fantastic job of just like laying out the different things that we have, the different proofs we have, the different perspectives that we have had. Is it not in focus? Is the book not in focus? I don't know. Anyways, one thing I do not particularly, and I don't know how big an issue this is, but like there are times when she just says the Japanese, when I think like the Japanese soldiers, or like she's using Japanese like it is a noun in certain situations where I don't think it should. I think it is harmful for it to be used as a noun versus having it be used as like an adjective, not an adjective, but like as a signifier, because like the Japanese soldiers here were absolutely brutal in this book, but there were also Japanese people that were horrified by what was going on, and it ended up getting suppressed. So, like, as someone from a country where we are quite often not aware of the shit that goes on, that our soldiers do, that our military does, I feel like there is a part of me that thinks there are just places where, not that she needed to remove herself from the narrative, but where the way she writes things could be construed by certain people as placing blame on people who were not involved in this. There's a specific caption that like will probably help illustrate my point a little bit better. There is, I'm not going to show you the picture. Well, actually, it's not the worst picture. But there is a picture of some Japanese soldiers about to behead a Chinese man. So the caption reads, in Nonking, the Japanese turned Mordor? In Nonking, the Japanese turned murder into sport. And then the next sentence reads, note the smiles on the Japanese in the background. I don't think, like, the first one, okay, that kind of makes sense for me. It's not, like, I probably would have preferred, like, the Japanese soldiers, but the second sentence, I feel, should have read, note the smiles on the Japanese soldiers in the background, or the soldiers in the background, because we already know they're Japanese. And like, I mean, like, there is a dude in the background of this picture, grinning. You can't really tell the expressions on the other two, but there is a dude in the back of this picture that's close enough you can tell he's grinning. This feels like we're putting blame on Japan as a whole versus the decisions of their military. And then the final one is Light from Uncommon Stars by Rika Aoki. I am DNFing this. There are some, like, okay, so I like Katrina as a main character. I'm invested in her story. I was invested in what is going on. However, we have so many other points of view in this book, along with the way that perspective continually is shifting. It doesn't work for an audiobook. Like, this just, like, if you want to read this, I highly recommend reading the physical version, not the audiobook. But the audiobook had to go back to my library. So I'm just not enjoying the reading experience despite parts of the plot intriguing me. I think the author had a really good idea here, and I think that this is another case of a book that there's either too much in it or too little. We needed more books than just the one, or we needed the book to be longer and to take more time with some of these things. As much as I wanted to continue on and know what happened, I'm just not having a good time reading it. And right now, that's really souring my entire desire to read the book at all. And I don't want to give this a bad rating. And it might be my headspace. It might be the fact that I'm having such a bad time with the audiobook. I may pick this up in the future at some point, but like right now, structurally, from what I am, like, just the way it is written is not working for me, and I am not, like, it needs more work, in my opinion. I still think if you like music books, if you really like somebody, I haven't read it, but somebody is, there people are comping this to, what's the author's name? Becky Chambers stuff. So like if you like that stuff and you like a lot of weird, oddball stuff kind of going on, I think it's still worth picking up. I still think you should pick it up. I also think that you should pick it up because it's a trans narrative. I just think that you should not pick it up if you're me and in the headspace I'm currently in, apparently. Those are the books that I read, and yeah, that's all I got for you guys. That's it. I'm sorry. That's all I got. So much for watching. Do the things. You know the things to do. I don't know what video is going to be over here, but if you would like something that's maybe me being a little bit more coherent about book thoughts, this is probably it. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!